remember having a really frank conversation with a business manager at one place I was, and explaining to her that on Sunday nights, just by the fact of their developmental stage, if I've got 30 kids walking into youth group, I've got 30 people in crisis walking into the building. And so if I missed that somebody left muffins out on the counter, or we forgot to turn out a light, could she maybe give us a little bit of room? Because the goal doesn't say make sure you took out the trash. I always want to take out the trash, trust me. It's not nice to walk into a room where somebody left, the pizza boxes inside instead of taking them out to the dumpster. That said, the total personal and spiritual growth of each young person needs to be the priority. A famous youth ministry guy in the Protestant community, Mike Yaconelli, talks about replacing the carpet. And he said, if you have to replace the carpet, celebrate. You know who doesn't need to replace the carpet? People with buildings that nobody enters. So if you're replacing the carpet, you're doing something right. So if there are messes, if things get broken, again, we always want to be as careful as we can be with the parish's resources. Absolutely yes. But let's also keep in mind that it's people that need to be our focus. And when you think about all the different areas that personal and spiritual growth encompasses, and all the different challenges that young people are dealing with today, the list can get pretty long and daunting. One more little piece of troubling news. The statistic right now is that young people are leaving the church at a rate of 85% after confirmation. I recently found out from some research that our company did that most of those young people had made that decision by the time they were 13 years old. 13 is the age by which most of them have chosen, I'm in or I'm out. So again, who we are as a community, the example that we're setting, how we decide. My husband always likes to say, don't show me your mission statement, show me your budget, then I'll know where your priorities are.
Amen.
And I think it's a really important thing to keep in mind. We so many times, I'll go in and do a workshop in a parish that really loves their young people and really wants to involve their young people, but there's no budget, or there's no youth minister, or they haven't allocated any resources, or they haven't changed their liturgy at all to incorporate young people. And so all of those things are just good things to keep in the conversation as we're talking about young people and what they need, how we can meet those needs, and how we can invite them to use their gifts. So that song that I started out with, Open My Eyes, Lord, I use that a lot when I'm opening a retreat, or I would use it for my confirmation classes. And one of the things that I love about that as a prayer for young people, this is an image that's used a lot in education as well. But when we look at young people, to not look at them as people whose heads we're going to pop open and fill with our church content or whatever knowledge it is that we want to pour in there. But we want to invite them to discover and name the experience of God that they've already had. So open my eyes so I can see God in this God-saturated universe around me. One of the things that I've loved about working with young people is with open ears, that they hear the cries of people that we have been deaf to. You were talking about gays and lesbians. I think about the people who I went to school with now must have struggled with and struggled with silently. I think of the people that I went to school with who committed suicide, and I wonder what was that pain that they couldn't talk about, that we didn't know about. And this is a generation that can hear those cries, that can talk about those things. And they're not really interested in having taboo subjects that we're not allowed to talk about. It's all out on the table.
Everything's on the table.
As terrifying as it is, it's all out there. Yep. And then that last verse, the help me to love. And I think that this, more than anything else, is the thing that has kept me in youth ministry, is the power with which young people can love. I always say Romeo and Juliet couldn't have happened between two 40-year-olds. You know, it had to be that intensity, that idealism, that absolute passion that comes with being 15 or 16. Gosh, what a privilege it is to sit in a circle and pray with people who love like that. You know, if you need to power up on your faith, go sit in that circle. Listen to the prayers of young people. Listen to them pray for their grandparents, pray for their friends, pray for themselves. And that's just a love that has a lot of power. I'm conscious of time. I want to fit in a couple more commercials for things I've got coming up that I'd like to invite young people to. But I also want to take some time for questions. So let me do my commercials, and then we'll open things up, and if people have a question they want to ask or a comment that they want to make, or yell heretic or anything like that, we'll do that in just a minute. So there's I've been, for the last 6 or 7 years, I've been really, really blessed to be able to work with Dr. Muhammad Shafiq at the Hickey Center for Spirituality, for Interfaith Dialogue. And there's 2 programs that I'm involved with there for high school students. Usually we do it in March, but we got snowed out this year. So in May, we do an interfaith conference where 500 young people come from all over the Rochester area, spend the day at Nazareth College. It's called the Global Citizenship Conference. And we have faith leaders, 80 different faith leaders come and do workshops. The first round of workshops, young people go to a workshop and learn about a faith tradition that's different from the one that they grew up in. And then the second round of workshops are skill-building workshops. So they might be conflict resolution, peacemaking, media literacy, any of the other ones. Kristen's been involved with it for the last few years. Interfaith on the internet. Media? Yep. And sharing the interfaith message over media. So that's a great place to see some young people up close, and we always need volunteers to just greet kids, to be hall monitors, to give directions, to help serve lunch. And it's not the kind of youth ministry where you're going to get to know a lot of kids, but it's a great perspective to get, and we have some great speakers coming for that. And then in the summertime, I lead a week-long interfaith immersion, and you've done that 2 or 3 times now, right, Kristen? So Kristen is your local expert on that, and if you have questions about that or how to sign up. But for a week, we cover a different world religion each day. So kids come afternoon through evening. We do a day on Hinduism, a day on Buddhism, a day on Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. And usually we can squeak Sikhism and sometimes Mormonism. We have an expert speaker. We go to a place of worship. And that's there's an adult version of that, if that sounds interesting to you. A parallel week runs along with ours, and we get to go out to dinner together a couple of times with the adults during the course of the week. And so the Hickey Center for Interfaith Studies and Dialogue leads both of those programs, and you can get more information on the Nazareth College website about those. We started an interfaith youth group called IFRAY. We have a Facebook group, it's Interfaith Rochester Area Youth, and we've been meeting about once a month. And then my last commercial is this is one of the things, I forget who I was talking to about getting in trouble with that website.
Oh, me.
Okay, so one of the things that some of the folks in the diocese didn't like that I was hanging out with the Episcopals. But I got to be a part of this really incredible week-long camp. It's an arts and spirituality camp that's sponsored by St. Mark's Episcopal Church in Penn Yan. And kids, it runs the last week of June, and I'm the director of the camp, and kids can major in yoga, in visual arts, in improv. It's just a really cool week for 11 to 18-year-olds, so that one reaches down a little bit younger, at one of my favorite places in the world, Camp Koinonia, where we went to family camp growing up and then come back year after year to bring my youth group up there on retreat. So it's a beautiful spot if you've got kids or grandkids that you think might be interested. And it's not a traditional church camp. I mean, kids at any different level of faith or no faith at all, and different spiritualities are talked about, but no one spirituality is, it's not the kind of thing where you have to believe a certain thing to go there. And again, generationally, I think it's a pretty savvy model in that regard. All right, let me stop. And just see if anybody has any questions or comments or last words, thoughts they want to share.
I'm really curious about what the kids think about parish life now. So I'm sure you have some experience, but I'd like to start with the kids and just see, what do you think about this parish and being a part of it?
And we've got
How is it
Thomas
for
too,
you?
his kid.
Yeah. So maybe even, let me make the question a little bit easier to answer, and tell us one thing that you like or love about St. Mary, St. Max's.
I think it's just very comfortable because you can you can share openly, I guess, and you kind of take things in, learn new information.
What about you, Nick? That's put you on the spot.
Or one thing you don't like. I mean, that's okay with me, if it's okay with you. I mean, what don't you like?
Or something you would change.
Yeah. Okay, you can take some time. Yeah.
It's a welcoming community.
Well, I think the best answer to that, they need a forum. They need their forum to come back to us. It's a little hard right now. It's thrown at them. They need that time to process. I think they'd be more comfortable in their own little forum.
I really enjoy our church because it's like welcoming. It's welcoming. You feel safe, I guess you could say, here.
Thomas, what grade are you in now?
Seventh.
So you're old enough to come to my camp. No, and I would say, young people and to share that with your peers. I mean, one of the things that I've heard loud and clear in the preparation for tonight, for this Lenten mission, is that your parish wants to know what you think, even if it's hard for them to hear. They're willing to hear it. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Go ahead.
Every time we have a young person getting involved, whether it's music ministry, altar server, reading, dancing, as we're going to see. We love it. And we watch Kristen grow up doing all of that. And we're so excited. And we crave more of that because it rejuvenates us. Now I'll throw out the elephant in the room. Where are our young people? Why aren't they here tonight?
Where's our youth minister?
What can we do about it?
Yeah, well, we've got to invite them, and I feel like it needs to be individually done, right, teams? I'm not alone on that idea. I think these guys are very strong, but I think there are many that just need a tap on the shoulder, and we're not tapping them.
And
They're shy.
somehow we've got to find a way to tap
We've got to
them.
walk right up, we got to have a name.
And I
we gotta
would
walk
say
right
you guys have you named two really key elements that, at least in my experience, have been super important in youth ministry programs, you know, seeding them and growing them. One is the personal invitation. Again, you know, my very loving husband teases me and makes fun of me. He's like, God, you should be a politician. Because one of the things I do is stand at the door and just grab the hand. I terrify them, I will admit it, but grab the hand of any kid that walks by and say, you look like somebody I should know. And just get, you know, this much information about that kid. So that's one element. And you also talked about them being strong. I mean, one of the most important parts of my ministry where you know, probably 60 to 80% of my time and resources have gone is to youth leadership. Is, you know, to twice a year I do training retreats for my teen leaders. So we meet with them before and after every youth group meeting, and putting kids in charge and helping, you know, letting them make it their space to give them a legitimate voice has been really, really vital. I saw a couple of more hands here.
The other question is, where are the parents? I mean,
Yeah, there's kind of a missing generation.
there's a
right?
huge mission, yeah.
One of the questions that's right on the table right now is something that we can do, and I know the area, so I'm going to talk about that. We've talked about it a little bit with the parish council chair and so forth. And that is, as we look at the kids growing up, we've provided for them, open their head and put some knowledge in. We've provided for them to go to NCYC some of the time, and we buy their desserts and help them fund it. So the realization or the aha is, as a whole community, so we have provision in a way, but as a whole community, the question we're asking ourselves is, how do we welcome our kids as they mature and move out of that channel that we've put them in, and how do we welcome them